Hi guys, Martin here, coming to you with my build update number 3 for the Revell Focke Wulf Fw190F-8 1/32 scale kit number 04869. So I'm going to go into the slideshow. It seems that was a popular method that I've just started, having a slideshow with narration over the top of it, so I'm going to continue with that. So let's take into that slideshow now. Oh, thanks for all the feedback regarding that, saying that you like that method. So let's take into the update 3 slideshow, and I'll see you at the end of the slideshow. Cheers. So taking off from where build update number 2 ended, it was time to mask the plane ready for painting. So I located the front windshield, masked it, located the sliding canopy, that was masked, and then I went on the underside and I fitted the 4 50-pound bomb racks because they have to be painted the same colour as the underside. And then I moved on to masking the flap areas, and I located the flaps so that they get airbrushed with the Lichtblau. After that, I took the undercarriage doors and I used them to mask the wheel wells, and then they'll get airbrushed with the RLM 76. I then moved on to the exhaust and masked the port side, and then I masked the starboard side exhaust. I then flipped the plane over and I masked the bottom exhausts, and after that I went to the tail end of the plane and masked the rear wheel assembly. Then I had to fill the gaps on the wheel wells, so I stuffed some damp tissue in there, and also on the bullet exhaust ports. I then masked the front end of the plane with tissue to mask the engine, and then I cleaned the plane down with isopropyl alcohol, and then airbrushed Model Masters grey primer all over, and I did that on the bombs and drop tanks too. Next, I pre-shaded the plane using some XF1 toned down with some grey. That's the top side, and the bottom side, including the bombs, the rudder, and the drop tanks. I then masked the nose end to create a stripe, and I airbrushed that with yellow. And then I added some white to tone that down, some highlights, and on the rudder as well, as you can see there, some highlights applied. I then removed that masking. I temporarily located the rudder and took some pictures just to see how it looks. I then removed the rudder and I airbrushed the RLM 76 Lichtblau. I masked the noseband that I'd just painted yellow. I then added white to the RLM 76 and airbrushed some highlights. Next was moving on to the Grau, the RLM 75, the Grau Violet, and I airbrushed that on. I did some mottling as well. I then added some white to that Grau Violet and did some highlights. And then it was time to airbrush the green on. I used RLM 83 with a drop of RLM 82, and then added white to create some highlights, as you can see there. I also did the mottling down the sides. I then went on to the bombs. The 2 big bombs were painted with Schwarzgrün, and the smaller bombs were painted with light olive. Next were the wheels. I added some silver onto the bolts and some red inside the in the areas where the valves are. I then chopped the plane I fitted the rudder permanently, put the propeller in place just for show, and took some pictures to see how she looks now she's all painted, and I was happy with how she looked. I also painted the red fins on the back edges of the 2 wings and the stabilizer flaps and the rudder. You can see the flaps and the rudder there, and that's the underside. So I was happy with how the base colours looked on everything, and there's the peripheral stuff. Yeah, wheel axles, wheels, bombs, drop tanks painted. So now all she needed was to be given a clear gloss coat so that she was ready for applying the decals. And there she is with a gloss clear coat applied. And then I prepared the decals and what I needed to apply them and started doing that. And I always like starting with the big ones first, so I applied the upper crosses to the wings, and then I finished off the port side wing decals, moved on to the starboard side wing decals, and finished those off. I then went to the port side horizontal stabilizer, applied those, and then the starboard side stabilizer, and did the decals on that as well. Then I completed the port side fuselage decals. That's a long shot, and that's a close-up shot of the nose, showing the decals at that end, and then did a close-up of the tail end, so you can see the decals that were applied on the port side tail end. I then did the starboard side, that's the nose end decals, and that's the tail end decals of the starboard side. And then after that I moved to the starboard side underside, I applied the decals there, and then did the underside of the port side of the aircraft. And then the last thing to do was the 250-pound bomb, apply the shark's mouth to that, the eyes and the stripes. So then everything was completed. That was my progress for this update. And so I just took some pictures for your viewing pleasure of how she looks with all her decals in place. So just enjoy the rest of the views, and that's the end of this update, guys. Next I'll be applying some silver chipping, ready for the next update, and doing a clear coat, and then applying all my washes, dark washes, filter washes, stains, exhaust stains, fuel stains, oil stains and streaks, etc, etc. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed this update, and I'll see you at the next one. But stick around, I'm just going to chat for a little while. So that's it. I'm back. Welcome back, guys, and here she is, all decaled up, ready for some chipping, and then a clear coat, and then some washes, dirt washes, filters, streaking, staining, and what have you. So that's all the base colours, and the weathering, filtering will change its appearance, make it look a bit more realistic. So that's it, there she is. That's my stage. Here's the peripheral stuff. 500-pound bomb, 250-pound bomb with a shark's teeth, the 450-pound bombs. I've got to paint some red stripes around those. Drop tanks, wheel axles, and the wheels themselves. That's it. So moving on from here, where do I go? As I say, it's going to be chipping, then a clear coat to seal all the chipping and decals in. Then I'll do a dirt wash, some filtering, and some stains, exhaust stains, fuel stains, oil stains, grease, streaks, etc. So that's it. I'm out, guys. I'm not going to keep you any longer. You've seen enough. And I'll see you at update number 4. Thanks for following, guys. Thanks for your comments. Much appreciated. Talio, chocks away.